Yo, what's up? This is the Babbling Heads podcast. I'm the Base 187.
I'm Dj Fingaz.
Jolly Ecstasy.
Yo, and today we'd like to welcome into studio journalist, creative founder of the I Am Creative Agency. Welcome, Raisa Fisher.
Thank you for having me and thank you for waiting for me.
That's fine.
I
Fashionably late.
so late. I am so sorry, but I am very happy to be here.
Now, that's actually the reason why we never say like we're going live at a certain time. Because shit happens. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, it does. Oh, we can swear. Okay.
Yeah, this is a no holds barred podcast.
And that's actually why I wanted to come on here because I loved what you guys were doing. And so I was like, hello, can I please come? Excuse me.
Yeah, sorry for the delay. We were trying to get things going in Women's Month, but it's COVID. It did stick up its head over here.
I was also really busy with the. I am had its own Women's Month interview series.
Yeah,
so every Monday I decided to take upon the anxiety and interview women in different industries and stuff like that. So that also took up a lot of time and energy and stuff. So I probably wouldn't have been able to do anything else.
I think let's start as always. I would like to get to know the woman behind the mic. You know, give us some just a brief history as to who you are and how did it come about you doing what you're doing for a living now.
Okay, well, I think when I was younger, I always just used to write these little stories that was like Kathy and Mark. So obviously, like my profession. In my personal capacity as I'm a writer and an editor. But then I decided I was going to study journalism, not to become a journalist because I knew that I would never survive in that cutthroat industry, but only because I realized that there was so many other things that you could come from there. Because I attended CPUT, and that course basically offered you like everything from writing court and crime, creative writing, being on the radio, how to write for radio, and all that sort of stuff, and like put you in so many different sort of elements of the media, of journalism and stuff like that. And that's what I really liked. And from all of those sort of things, like when I graduated and got my degree in journalism, I wanted to like dabble in different things. So besides like, I mean, I've always loved local hip hop, not only just like in terms of music, but in terms of the different elements and stuff like that. I've always been like attending all of the events and stuff. Like there was nothing that could keep me away. But in seeing that, like that wasn't even the part that made me want to help them. I think I started to get more experience. So I did some PR with Ogilvy. I did PR with Red Bull. I did writing for like all the sort of newspapers, Cosmopolitan magazine, all that sort of stuff. And then when I was doing PR for the Red Bull BC one, I actually had to look after, in inverted commas, after the Ninja Turtles, which was the only Cape Town breaking crew that made it into the Red Bull Beat Battle in that specific year. I think that might be like 9 years ago or something like that. And I was just so amazed at these guys, like seeing what they're doing and thinking to myself, okay, but like where's the representative and like where do they go from here and all of that sort of stuff. That so I took them to interviews and I had to like prepare them for interviews and stuff like that, tell them what to say and what not to say. And that's how I got to know them. And then when it came to after the competition was done, I think they came third that year, I went up to them and I was just like, okay, so what now? Like, who's your manager and stuff like that? And they were like, oh, we don't, they didn't know like which way. They were just like, this is just what we do. We just enter competitions. If we win, we win. We don't, we like that sort of thing. So and then a few weeks later, I got a message on Facebook from Curse, People the Curse, and he was like, hey, I'd like to take you up on that offer to be manager. I didn't offer, but I just suggested, I just said that you guys actually should think about becoming that. And then from there, I realized they didn't have CVs, they didn't have bios, they didn't have anything written, that when people asked them for things, they had nothing. So at that time, I was busy with I Am magazine, which was South African hip hop and culture magazine, online. And then I took them under that, and I used that as a platform to write about them, to have people know more about them and stuff like that. So from there, it just kind of just kept going. Like, it wasn't just with them. Then it became other type of dancers, and then suddenly it was in all different elements and stuff like that. And it went from like the DJ helping people, and just normal people coming to talk to me, to ask me like little pieces of advice. And then I just couldn't stop. I just couldn't stop. And I don't think that I will ever stop. And then, so I've been doing this independently for, like I said, next year will be like 10 years. But with the agency, I recently just decided to create an agency using my skills to have people, like, whether you are a creative individual, whether you are an entrepreneur, you don't have to be a creative, whether it's a startup or anything like that, to just kind of like help them build themselves up, whether they need a CV, whether they need a bio, whether they need business plans, proposals, any type of proposals, funding letters. I also do a little bit of knowledge of self, like how to value yourself in the industry and stuff like that, because I think it's very important for creatives to really respect themselves, and especially when it comes to getting paid, but especially just like to know your worth in general.
And media presence, how do you do that as well? Like social media presence and
For other people?
for artists and stuff.
Yeah, like I do. If that's what they need me to do. So a lot of people have approached me and wanted me to be their sole manager, but I feel so like I can't be one person's manager, because there's so many people that need these sort of assistance. So yes, I do like your social media strategies and stuff like that. So like at the moment also I'm a mentor for the Baskets program at the Waterfront.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah. So with them, what I do is exactly what I do within my company. And I was so fortunate that they actually like picked that up.
So they contacted you, or
they contacted me based on like what I'd been doing, because my sister, she is a graffiti artist, so I started like doing client liaising for her, and then just kind of like it was spread out to like different people and stuff. So she did like a piece there, and then they were like, oh, but what do you do? Like, and then I explained to them, and they were like, okay, we really need your help. So I mentor the buskers, and that's like portrait artists, to the marimba bands, to the singers, to the living statues, you know, that bronze guy and the silver guy, those sort of people. Yeah. So now what's happening, because of the pandemic, these people are having to find alternative revenue streams. It's also a matter of like your mental health, like how to deal with this sort of stuff, because it's a depressing matter, and in the entertainment industry it's kind of hectic. And then also just to like help them find ways of just to get back on their feet, you know, basically. So that's what I've been doing at the moment with them. Yeah. So I sit and I do the social media strategies, because a lot of people don't know about Instagram, don't know how to use it properly, don't know how to use Facebook and all that sort of stuff, are just advertising their work on WhatsApp statuses the whole time, just like the same target market. So yeah, I dabble in
I've got a bit of a two-pronged question here.
Yes.
Obviously, you were traditionally trained in journalism, which meant terrestrial print media, magazines and stuff, which a lot of them don't exist anymore. So when you started off and the transition now into the digital age, how do you see those media houses still being able to exist?
Well, I'm a purist, so my thing is, without them, I wouldn't be, and a lot of us wouldn't be where we are today. And I think that something that infuriates me is that the people who are starting these online blogs and stuff and just think that anyone can be a writer, they really need to understand that there comes like all these little steps of being like, you need to be taught different things, the intro, the second paragraph, the subheading, and all this sort of stuff. There's a way in which people can write, in which you draw people in and stuff like that. So that's a little bit frustrating for me, but at the same time, like, I like to see that these sort of print media and stuff like IOL and you know, all that sort of stuff, like even though they may be moving away from print and stuff like that, they're not giving up the fight, and they are willing to take on the online, you know, and stay in existence, which is really, really important.
I think the answer that Jeff Bezos, when he bought the Washington Post, it was failing, and then he took it over and basically steered it into a more online presence.
Yes.
And it's not all successful, so it can be done basically.
Yeah, it can. Especially now in the time that we're living in the world of emojis and stuff like that. I mean, but that's the thing. People have had to think out of their comfort zone, you know, and that's where we're at now. So even with like these creatives and stuff, that's what I'm having to do with them, to teach them that, you know, you were comfortable. You were comfortable where you were. You thought you knew that, and you thought that was it.
Yeah.
But here we are in an uncomfortable position. What are we going to do now?
Yeah, I think also like in today's day and age, people are used to consuming media in short bursts. So you have your 30-second, 40-second TikTok videos, which is like palatable to a lot of people because they want something quick and fast. But now if you're looking at you doing a 3 to 4 page article in a magazine spread, and we're doing a long format podcast, it's like there's not necessarily, there will be some of the old school that will gravitate towards actually listening to a lot of content or reading a lot of content.
Correct.
But then also the current generation is small bits. It's like they don't want to read too much. It's like
too
much
they
of an
don't
effort.
want to read too much. And the beauty of a podcast is that like you can clean the house and the podcast can play in the background.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
true.
So you can just play it wherever you are, you know? So that's also really cool.
Yeah, we actually had some requests to go into Restream for an audio-only podcast because this is currently a video cast.
Yeah, we're setting it up. My esteemed colleague there is gonna.
But then the other part of that is like with you teaching people how to handle social media, are a lot of these individuals aware of the fact that like when they have Facebook rants, etc., or beef, etc., how it can actually affect their brands?
Beef? Well, yes. So one of the things that I try to do, like also in knowledge of self, is also like how you represent yourself to in a professional capacity. And that doesn't only mean like when you're talking to somebody that, for instance, you want to be sponsored by or whatever, but just in general, like which battles to fight and stuff like that. The beef, like I think that is something that some people just thrive off. You know what I mean? And there's nothing that we can do about it, but in your own personal capacity, you can decide, do I want to, is this a fight I want to get into and have the whole world sit with popcorn and watch me now? Or am I going to be the bigger person and address it via a DM, or whether I should even address it at all?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that's a slippery slope. I get 100% what you're saying, but when it comes to social media and your presence, I feel personally, you have to give a bit more of yourself, and not a fake version. Like I immediately I'm thinking of remember what's his name, DJ Khaled, huh? Toe hy uitgekom het was net positive.
Yeah.
Toe all of a sudden to say album goed doen, toe gaan hy op 'n rant weer. It was like, dude, what do you do? so he wasn't himself the whole time. So for me personally, and I feel that we shouldn't just be like pawns for big companies, man.
No.
We should. Want vir my, dis wat ek sien baie in die Kaap gebeur. Joburg obviously has been sold already. Where people don't want to say, ek was al gesê, like, dude, ze kan nie so aangaan nie because die sponsors, kyk, so ek myself, dude, I would rather not have a sponsor. And be myself.
Yes.
If I would have a sponsor, I want the sponsor to be in my corner, not a version of you know what I'm saying? I admire people like say Ice Cube, well, Ice Cube will uitgekom het. You know what I'm saying? And I think we've lost that in hip-hop where people are just authentically themselves. Because het gaan 'n tyd kom waar die sponsors vir jou sê, jy kan nie Black Lives Matter meer support nie.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's a favorite thing, whatever. But there's gonna come a time where your sponsors gonna say, dude.
I think quite a few people have actually lost sponsorships because of it.
And it's not a bad thing, really.
I think also like with that sort of thing in your responding and stuff, there's just a way that you word it. You can say whatever you want to say, but the way that you word it, that's
true,
important. And also another thing is the truth is actually telling the truth and being like honest and stuff is actually one of the reasons why people come back to your profiles. You know what I mean? Why they want to keep up to date with you, because they know that you're not scared to say your say. And with that also, when it comes to like sponsorships and stuff like that, if your sponsor doesn't like who you are, because and I'm not saying that if you go out there and you have like a whole swearing rant and everything and you're very onbeskof and whatever, obviously your sponsor's going to have a problem with that. But if they drop you, then maybe it's just meant to be that you're supposed to get another sponsor or somebody that understands that will allow you to rant, because maybe that's who you are.
Tell me, what advice would you give like people that are currently trending now on social media? If I'm just, for example, looking at Sloane. Sloane is a professional athlete. She's a dancer with, I think, Unlimited. And she just secured the bag with a Spotify deal.
Yes.
So the girl with the long blonde ponytail.
Okay.
So yeah, she's dope for me. It's like, but it's like, how do you maintain that? Because things comes like in the ebb and flow in the industry. So you might be today's hottest topic, but how do you maintain that?
Well, I think it's for me, if I was somebody who represented her, first off, like I don't really know who she is. But big up to her for like what she's doing, and I hope that she does maintain it. The thing about that is that I would speak to her, and it's all about just always going back to your foundation, like always remembering like what it is that you wanted to do. What was the end goal here? So you've done this. Maybe you somebody who sets sort of challenge for yourself every 3 months or something like that. There are different things. It's the same thing like with strategies and stuff. As an artist or whatever you want to call yourself, however you see yourself, there are different ways that you can keep your creativity alive. So that's up to her to do something. If she wants to do that, yes, there's that route. But there's also other things like say for instance it's downtime with work and she's not busy or whatever, then she needs to maybe create like a challenge, a 30-day challenge or whatever. That also keeps people still, because now she's doing something in a personal capacity and she's actually being herself. And people don't only want to like see her maybe as just like a dancer or whatever. They also just want to see her as a person too.
So, okay, just coming back, it's like one of the reasons I wanted to ask you this, having gone out of journalism, your family is very prolific in terms of the performance arts, visual arts, as well as print media. So how does our typical household look like? It's like, how's the journey been thus far for you guys as a family?
Okay, so obviously my family is full of creatives. I don't think anybody has a 9-to-5 job for a few years now. So obviously I do what I do, and my dad, he's he's a consultant now, but he was very much in the print media and stuff like that. My mom, she loves to cook, and I think she might be starting some sort of food cult somewhere on Facebook or whatever. And then my younger sister, she is an artist, she's a singer, and she also has her own little radio thing going. And then my older sister, she is a graffiti artist. So how does the household look? Nobody knows what anybody's doing on any day. Like every day is kind of different, but I think we don't know a day. If not one day is the same, and if one day was the same, we would hate it. There's a lot of books. there's a lot of, we definitely need Wi-Fi because we're always reading up on stuff, always doing research and everything. Always, so one thing about my family is that there's a lot of local love.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like, oh, Emma Adams is doing a virtual concert or whatever, my dad's buying the tickets. You know, this one, he's coming up here. My dad, like my parents, and I think that's where we got it from also because, and also where my love for just local music and musicians and the arts and stuff like that came from was from him because he started the Cape Town Festival and they used to have like an annual thing in March. I forgot what day it was.
Concert in the park?
It was a concert in the park, but it was something for something specific. I forgot what it was for. But every year they would do that, and all these different artists, and I just absolutely loved it. And we all would just like love it. And then eventually, like, I got involved by being somebody who's liaising for the artist. My other sister, she would be painting there. My other sister, she performed. My mom is there as, I don't know if she made the food or whatever, but you know, and my dad, that was his baby, you know, stuff like that. So the household of the Fishes is very, very creative. Like it's a lot of expression.
Yeah.
People have a lot. There's no muzzles.
Yeah.
People say what
No, I
they
think
say.
I was blessed enough to have been there in 2012 when I was busy with Nard with the Kotex We Be Girls campaign.
Yes.
And I remember the Friday your dad and Tessel brought some fish and chips. And I was like, yo, these damn lekker fish and chips.
Yeah.
But then I was as a quite set up there.
Yes.
So what's the other part of your agency is as talent management? What's the wildest thing you've come across, like working with clients?
Wow. I think that I wouldn't say it's like wild or whatever. Okay, besides so there's two things that really like come to mind right now. And the one is that the person that I am most of the time liaising with is usually some sort of headless, manic Karen or whatever, running around, not knowing what's going on. Like, she's doing her job is to liaise with me and make sure that the artist is, you know, getting whatever. And it's usually, I say her because I've dealt with the majority of females. And they are usually just, because of the powers that are above them, they are tripping out and they're tripping balls. If they can't get something right, they are in so much cuck, and that's why they push and they push or whatever. So they usually like don't know if they're coming or going. They never sleep. They're probably on cocaine or doing some sort of drugs or whatever. But they are in a world that I don't know if they know that they exist in. But dealing with people like that is very hard. But also very eventful, I might say. But then on the artist side, I've dealt with a lot of divas, people who, you know, for example, if somebody says to you, yeah, can you be part of this program or whatever, deals with mentorship, etc., whatever, then you say yes to it, but you're not willing to talk to the people as a mentor. You just want to kind of like let your, I don't know, your art or whatever just speak for itself, you know, but you're not willing to stand up and do like a workshop or whatever. So it's just like, no, I don't do stuff like that. I don't do interviews. I don't do that.
Ooh,
yeah.
We had one of those.
But your perspective is very interesting because you can ask artists like what is the interesting need for us to grow, but I think your perspective is from a different point of view. So what in your mind, what do you think should be put in place for artists to reach their target market or survive better, especially after COVID? What would you say would be beneficial?
I really think that a lot of most of the reasons why artists feel that they cannot speak openly and stuff like that, it's got to do with like certain mental health things, like also like being really shy, getting really anxious, getting too anxious. You know, they can't stand up in front of people, let alone just sit like as we are sitting. It's too much. the door is closed, the curtains are closed, where's the exit and stuff like that, you know. So stuff like that, like artists really go through, and that is why the artwork is so like, when I say artists, I mean like whether it's dance or you know,
Visual
painter or
performance,
whatever it may be. These people have anxiety too, you know. So for them to actually come up and talk about like this sort of stuff, or even to liaise with a client and to actually go into say, actually I need 50,000 rand, and that is my service, my rate or whatever. They can't even do that, and then I have to be the one to do stuff like that. So I think it would be really nice if there was some sort of like ways of giving them how do you say, sort of tools to deal with their anxieties and stuff like that, or to make them feel more comfortable or whatever, whether it's be like find out the things that are like closest to them that make them feel comfortable. It's okay, you can bring your teddy bear, you can what's your favorite drink, or your snack, like your comfort food or whatever. Do we need to bring your bed in here? Like those sorts of things will really like make them feel that they can do it. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm thinking of weirdly enough, I'm thinking of the cricket team or even the rugby team. They would have like head doctors, especially the cricket team, because unless we won't choke, man. So maybe something like that should be implemented for the artists as well. But makes sense to have a professional in to keep them.
And I think like when people like look at therapy and stuff like that, you know, like I was speaking to somebody, my husband and I, we went for supper, and they were speaking about like how the generation, like in my parents' generation, having sort of like mental health issues or whatever, that was a white person thing.
Yeah.
You know? And now, like, I myself is somebody who has been diagnosed with anxiety and depression. So when I told my parents about it, it was something that they kind of had to like process their mind, like go back to the motherboard and sort of like, you know, solder something in there. But the thing is, like, it was it's really something that it's a generational curse, I would say. You know, so these sort of things need to be addressed more in order for people to feel that they are okay to speak about it. You come here and to be like, hi, my name is Raisa, and I'm actually very nervous. I'm sweating balls, and I'm just going to do this interview under the table because this is where I feel most safe. And not feel like you're going to look at him and be like, yo, that's weak. Like, you're weak, bruh. Or there's something wrong with you. You're not looking down on the person or whatever. But instead be like, cool, if that's where you want to do it, then that's where you want to do it.
Yeah, I think the taboo and the stigma definitely needs to be removed, because it's becoming more prevalent in today's, with the advent of social media. It's coming more to the fore, and I remember at one stage people were like saying, yeah, but everyone wants to get on the depression train. No, I'm also depressed. But that is the reality. It's like you can't speak for the next person if you're not going through
it's
that person's struggles.
So what if everyone's depressed? True. Like, let them be depressed and let them say it.
But it's different. Society is different now than it was 30 years ago, man. It's the food we eat, it's the air we breathe, breathe is different. So you can actually say a lot of people, more people is so we're fucking going through a pandemic.
Exactly. No, I must tell myself that every day. If one day I can't get out of bed or whatever, I must tell myself, you're in a pandemic. There's a virus killing people out there. People are just dying every day, and it's kind of feeling like normal that you're just hearing that people are dying.
Yeah, I've been saying this now for probably a year and a half already. I need to get somebody in to speak about not the different factors, man. Like your hormones is a known factor for depression and stuff like that also.
Yes.
So I want to get somebody that actually knows it, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Because it's also like your brain, the chemicals in your brain as well. They that's where like mood stabilizers, antidepressants and stuff like that. And people have there's such a negative stigma attached to that also. You know, like, oh my gosh, you're gonna go on medication like that. It's gonna make you like sort of slow and soft and like not yourself or whatever, but that's not true. Yeah, like
Stabilizer.
suddenly, like but it's not.
Yeah.
It's really not like that.
Yeah, in the 90s it used to, like, I'm talking about not personal experience of myself, but what I saw, man. People
But
were,
even if it was about yourself, that's okay too.
yeah, you're just saying. But I just want to make it clear. No, but I do attack like anxiety sometimes.
Yeah.
But I try not to keep that one as apparently by addictive, man.
Yes.
So I try to monitor. But in the 90s, when I saw people being on stuff now where they medicated, they would be like fucking zombies, man. But nowadays, so science has moved forward, man.
Yes.
So it's not like they're gonna overdose you nowadays.
Yeah.
Man. There's more like they make it for you personally, like
Yes.
to match your
And they are specialists, you know. Back in the day, you guys, okay, I say you guys, but, you know, I'm in my early 30s.
Oh, yes, Mrs. Young one.
But I've heard that, I mean, you guys weren't like offered, I'm sorry for saying you guys, because I don't even know, you could be like 21. But
16,
people who are like in my parents' generation, for example, they didn't have those sort of like specialists and stuff like that. It was just like, take a Panado if you're feeling depressed.
Wat 'n dop.
Dit help somebody hoë bloeddruk.
Take a dop and sleep it off.
Use Vicks.
But just coming back to the artists, man. I wanted to say that, like, how do you change an artist's perspective, man? Because what you see on TV, like, just think about this, or what you see on media, none of that shit is true. Like, how the life actually is as an artist is way different than what is portrayed on TV. So, like, how do you, it's like almost expectation versus reality, man.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, most artists can't cope with that because this is not what they signed up for, because they saw a certain picture, man, about how this lifestyle is.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to have so many chicks, I'm going to have so many cars, I'm going to have this, I'm going to have this big mansion. That's not how it works. Yeah. So, like, what is your advice for artists, man, out there that still has this picture or this idea or this expectations of what the scene or what this lifestyle is actually about?
I think that my answer would be, more directed to the people who are dealing with the artists, because human beings just want to be heard. You know what I mean?
True.
We just want somebody who can listen to us when we have a problem. We don't really need you to tell us how to solve the problem. You know what I mean? So when it comes to like artists, when it comes to being like a manager or a representative, a client liaison, or just somebody who, you know, approaches artists and stuff like that, the first thing that I feel that they need to do is actually just get to know who the hell this person is. What are the things that they are comfortable with, and what are the things that they are not comfortable with? What are the things that they are willing to do and not feeling comfortable about and stuff like that? Like, it's not like you can't force people into doing something that's not who they are. So I would say, like, for me, for example, I'm like a natural empath. So if you tell me now you have a problem, I'm going to be like, do you want to talk about it? Like, and I'll really mean it. Like, I'm the type of person who, when I say, how are you, I actually really want to know how you are. And I will sit and I will listen to you, whatever. And I think that that's something that I have to offer that's maybe different to what other people look at, like, oh, you know, being a manager, it means that you know, you get to go to all the parties, the events, you get guest lists and blah, 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 whatever. But I'm more worried about, what is my artist okay before he goes on the stage, or before she actually does anything? Is she okay? Does she have enough water? Is she dehydrated or whatever, you know? So I think more like get to know the person, speak to them, give them the opportunity to also speak to you. That's because they just want to be heard, basically. So give them that opportunity.
But don't you think that the whole thing where you said expectation and reality, where artists fake it till you make it?
Yeah, but then it's also you know, fake it till you make it, but then it's also the depression that follows with that, man. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like me, like yo, bruh, I was almost there, man. You see, so like I had to pull myself out of that dark corner and just say, nah, bro, you're doing this for a reason.
Doing what?
Because like
May I ask?
I'm a rapper, dancer, a producer,
Podcaster.
podcast as well. So
Hulle wil giet,
like,
hulle wil giet.
Check,
so
Because
for
we
me,
have a
like
manager.
you have literally no time for yourself. Okay, obviously now with pandemic shit's different, but you have no time for yourself. You have to work constantly, otherwise you're not gonna make any money.
Yeah.
You're gonna constantly have to be on the grind, and then that's the truth about this.
Yeah.
Because the lifestyle you're choosing, or the lifestyle you're showing out there for, like, you know, for this man is actually, it costs a shitload amount of money. And not everybody has that money.
Can I be honest with you guys? No? When a couple of years ago, I went through not deep depression, but like a sticky depression. I had deeper depression already. I was working for a radio station, no? Earning liquor money, but the work I was doing wasn't satisfactory to me. It wasn't creative. Ik het die gevoel ek kan myself zien, man. I needed to be under an umbrella. I need to certain things say, and that actually made me more depressed. When I left there, my brother was skilled.
Yeah.
Some elevated now, and I feel like, even though I'm not making the same money, but I'm still, I feel freer, man. You know what I'm saying? That is also important, man.
I think that just to like answer your question from like an artist or like an artist, whoever I am, person, it really is also up to you to make this. And I can speak for myself. I have days like that where I feel I look at my to-do list and I just go straight to bed, because it's a lot. It's overwhelming. It's something that you think, oh, I actually can't deal with that today or whatever. Now, with the sort of thing like with the society expecting certain stuff from you, whatever, and where you feel maybe overwhelmed, or you feel like maybe not like, and you can't tell somebody, that is a little bit on you. Because you should also be able to stand up for yourself and to be like, I need a mental health day. You know, I need one day and where you just need to stop and you need to rejuvenate yourself. You need to go to maybe a place that you feel just, you know, you can relax. Even if it's just for a few hours, but you need to, for your own sanity, like in life. And I'm not just talking as an artist, as a human being who works every day or tries to pay rent or whatever. You need to take the time to just take one day, 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever the time is, that, because everyone's different, to just give yourself that opportunity to be like, I'm putting my phone off, my laptop's over there, I'm going for a walk, whatever it may be, you know. So you also have to take control of yourself and make that decision for yourself to be like, I need this time, I'm just going to walk away for a little bit. Nope, sorry, not dealing with that now, I'll be back, you know.
Oh, wait. Anything else, Saints?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
No, all good. So yeah, we'd like to thank Raisa for coming on board.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. Thanks
and
for reaching out.
dropping this knowledge on us.
Yeah, I think your presence in the industry is now important, man. I'm a kind of artist, as we say. You know what I'm saying? Somebody needs to guide the artists and steer them in the right direction. So your presence is very needed.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it doesn't come from like a selfish perspective. Man. It's not a like you get a lot of people, right, that try to help artists, but by helping themselves.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Me,
It's about me. It's not about the artist, man.
Yes.
And then, yeah, but
at the end of the day, there is obviously some form of monetary transaction that takes place, but at least it's not coming from I'm gonna jack you or whatever the case.
Yeah. I mean, if there is any like monetary transactions, I really try to give everything from the full consultations to actually just like the part of me that's empathetic, and then also the actual service of what I'm about to give you, and then give you just a really big, beautiful box of like wonderfulness that you can take called my service.
But where can people get hold of you?
Okay, well, I am on, personally, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, Raisa Fisher, Raisa Fisher. And then I am the agency. It has a page on Instagram called iam.acreative. And then you'll find there are like, you know, all those action buttons, email stuff and whatever. You can DM me. I always tell people to DM me because, you know, I like to speak to people.
Oh, wait. Shout out, yeah, but from us, the Babbling Heads, we out.
Cool. Peace.
oh,
Thank
net
you.
a piece, Mr. Fingaz.
Huh?
You're only going me with a piece. No, like DJ Fingaz of so.
Oh, nee, ik moet het uitgegooid aan, man. DJ Fingaz.
Oh, hey.
Peace.
Peace out.
Trek ik knap.